Well, hello, my little beauties, and welcome to this live stream with me, David Connolly, the web developer extraordinaire. And it's very nice to see you. You know that I'm the web developer extraordinaire because it says so here. That's right. It says so here. If it will focus, but it won't. Anyway, I am the web developer extraordinaire, and it's very nice to have you here. Listen, the past few live streams, and this one's not going to be any different, have been heads down, thumbs up. I barely have an opportunity to look at the screen, and I'm just working like a maniac. So I'm using the start of these videos, this section here, to really say hello and to explain myself, and hopefully this will be satisfactory, at least for now. Um, Building frameworks is quite easy, especially with things like ChatGPT now on the go. Anybody watching this can build a framework, and you could probably do one even faster than Trongate, you know. The trouble is writing documentation. That's not easy. It's incredibly difficult. Even with AI, it just takes ages. Doing documentation, by my estimation, is far more difficult than building any framework. And we don't really have any decent documentation at this point in time. We don't even have a help bar. Hello, Stefan. Nice to see you. And it's ahoy to you. I love that little picture of the dog you've got there. Very nice to see you. Did you have a good weekend? I do hope so. Anyway, um, we currently don't have any decent documentation. We don't have a website or anything that's in any way decent. And if we don't have a documentation, if we don't have docs, we don't have a gig. There are many frameworks I can name that were perfectly good frameworks, but they went down because they never had documentation. And it cannot happen to us. So I know that I've worked a lot on the help bar. I know that I've done a lot of work on the design, but I don't want to launch any of it until we've got documentation. This has gone on too long. So that's the reason why it's been heads down, thumbs up. And in fact, the other night, about 3 nights ago, I worked until 6:30 in the morning. And I usually start, well, lately 10 or 11 in the morning. So that's, you can do the math, 18 hours or something like that. So I'm doing massive amounts of hours here just trying to get the documentation right. One of the things that has been really difficult has been just getting the tone right, you know? At first, I did almost a kind of salesy tone. I wasn't aware of it. It was not a thing that I deliberately did. But I noticed that everything just sounded like a sales spiel, you know? Are you looking for a way to do drop downs easily? Well, now you can. It was kind of like that. And that never worked. And then I switched to a really dry style of writing, which I've done hundreds of pages like that. A very formalized technical way of writing. But I look back and I thought, well, that doesn't really work either, actually. And I just couldn't get the tonality right. And then eventually, I took inspiration from somebody whom I'll show you right now, actually. And I've mentioned before on this channel. It turns out that back at the start of the 20th century, there was a gentleman by the name of Robert Collier who, let me see if I can bring up his picture. Well, here he is here. It's not a very good picture, but can you hear me? Yep. Here he is here. This is Robert Collier. Now, what he did was remarkable. This gentleman here was a bit like me, sort of penniless. And then one day he had this idea. He got some sweets, you know, like chocolate sweets. Not like literally chocolate sweets, actually. And he got some envelopes and some stamps. And he put two or three of these chocolate sweets inside envelopes and he posted them through all of the doors. I don't think he would have had stamps. I just realised that. But he posted them through the doors. And imagine you get this envelope with some chocolate sweets and you open it. And there was a letter there that would read, well, maybe I can find one. Um, okay, this might be one here, if I can find it. Ah, unfortunate. Well, you're going to have to just take my word from it from memory. But he wrote these letters that would say something like, "Behold this incredible chocolate delight. Each one was lovingly made with blah, blah, blah." I mean, it was just beautiful. You read this and your mouth watered. And then he would say, if you really do like these sweets and you'd like some more, please send a payment to this address. And the letters were absolutely beautiful. And then he did it again with neckties. So he'd send ties through the door and he'd talk about how beautiful the ties are and how they're made. And again, if you want one or you'd like to buy some, please send them back. Then he did it with handkerchiefs. And all of his letters were really beautiful. The chocolate one, you'd read it and your mouth would just water. And the art of being able to just write text that sells is called copywriting. And this guy, for people who are into this, is considered basically the guru of copywriting. And he would have been doing this during the Great Depression and stuff like this. So at a time when there was not much money going around, and he managed to become a millionaire by doing this. And so for anyone who is a professional writer who writes sales copy, this guy is the Michael Jordan of sales copy. He did it in the toughest conditions and he did it in a way that won. And so his book is a bestseller, but you can't find it actually. It's so rare. I haven't looked this up for about 10 years, but it was rare. Is it back on Amazon? Yeah, the real one, the real publication has a blue cover, and that's the one that you cannot get. That's what it looks like. It's a very collectible book, and I don't believe they've republished it, have they? Am I going to embarrass myself here? Interesting. Well, at least you know that I'm giving you this from my memory and not from something I just prepared, right? But this is, it says here, it's by far the top book on writing sales letters. It goes beyond that. The techniques are, anyway, you get the idea. So what I did is I had this idea, and you know what's coming up? I thought to myself, what if I went to the AI and I said, can you write these docs in the style of Robert Collier? Not even sure if the AI could know what it meant, but it knew, and it rewrote the docs. And so the documentation that we've got now is absolutely incredible. I mean, take this for example. Out of band swaps. Now, I'm going to show you, before we look at this, let me show you the original docs, right? So if I go here and here, and now I'm just going to read the first paragraph, right? Okay, so here comes the first paragraph. Trongate MX introduces a powerful feature for updating multiple parts of your web page with a single request. The MX Select OOB attribute. This out-of-band swapping mechanism allows you to update elements beyond the primary target of your request, providing a more dynamic and efficient way to refresh your page content. That's the original. Now let's look at the same page, but with the Robert Collier treatment. So this is a page where we've asked the AI to, can you please rewrite this, but in the style of this gentleman here. See if you can notice a difference. It says, have you ever wanted to update several parts of your website with a single request? That's exactly what TronGate's out-of-band swaps lets you do using the MX Select OOB attribute. Let's explore how it works. Now look at the difference. It's short, it's economical, and it uses the magical word, you. Look at this paragraph here, right? What are out-of-band swaps? Now, look at how we do it in the original. I'm going to read the original, right? The MX Select OOB attribute enables you to specify specific content from a server response and swap it into designated parts of your current DOM. This provides precise control over both the source of the content in the response and where it should be inserted in your page. I wrote that and I'm confused. But look at it with the Robert Collier treatment. It says, imagine you're redecorating a room. Your main focus might be replacing the sofa. But while you're at it, you might want to update the curtains and swap out some cushions too. That's what out-of-band swaps do for your web page. They let you update multiple elements in one go, even if they're in different places on the page. That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I don't even need to ask confirmation. So this is what's happening with the docs. It's a whole new way of writing. Now there's one other change that I've made. I'm tired of living in the shadows of HTMX. And I took inspiration from another, person who's no longer with us, let's say. And that is the great Steve Jobs. And I asked the AI, this whole TronGate MX really looks a whole lot like HTMX. The syntax is the same, the features, everything. And I had a whole introduction apologizing. And I said, what would Steve Jobs have done? And the AI said Steve Jobs would never have done that. He would have made it seem like a standalone, original, innovative product. And indeed, he would have, instead of using HTMX code, he would have used the TronGate helpers, form helpers, to do syntax like this. Do you see the syntax on the page here? Like this, you see? And this is a view file. So now we're using the TronGate framework to do the same thing. And, instead of writing this, right? Look at this, how horrible it looks. But now we do this, you see? Now you can do them like that, but this is the preferred approach. So I've been going through all of the HTMX documentation and changing them to this new style. Let's go back to out-of-band swaps for a minute. If you take a look at this syntax here, this is very similar to HTMX syntax, but we can have cleaner syntax thanks to the power of TronGate and with a little sprinkling of PHP magic. So look at this here, look at how horrible that code is. But then look at this code. Here we define the swaps. So this is saying we're going to fetch that, we're going to add it here. We're going to fetch that, and we're going to add it here. See, it's just an array. And then we declare using the form button helper. So we now have a unique syntax of our own. No more shall we live in the shadows of anything, actually. And I think it's incredibly exciting. But unfortunately, it's incredibly time consuming as well. And by the way, we've also got a really, really great search engine now, which I'll demonstrate. And there it is here. And look at how this works. So you would click read more. That obviously needs a wee bit of work. What's going on here? Ah, okay. Let me fix that right this second. There we go. And then, all right. I'm going to grab this gold color here. Um, I don't, I don't want to introduce too many new colors. Do you know what I mean? There we go. Okay, so look at the beautiful search engine here. That's how it works. So this is what I'm working on, and it's going to take me quite a long time. We have Reverse here. How you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, and welcome. I've just realised that I've made this a public stream by accident, but that's okay. Actually, I don't mind. I don't think I've said anything too offensive or outrageous here. Um, and at least you get a chance to see what I'm working on. So that's okay. I'm probably only going to be here for a couple of hours anyway. Hello to you, Reverse. It's ahoy to you. Um, and who knows, maybe the information about Robert Collier will be interesting for some people. So let's just keep this one up then. That's okay. And those of you who are not channel members, well, now you see a little taste of what I normally do during the day. All right. So, what shall we build today? I'm going to probably just do something quite simple, and it is this. And by the way, look at all of this documentation that I've got to do. This is tons and tons of work here, but I think it's going to be worth it, you know? Anyway, whenever you click into a page, I think that this should expand, you know? So that's what I'm going to be doing. We already have this on the old documentation, as you can see. So if I click in here, do you see how this expands? So we already have it, but we don't have it on the new documentation. So this is what I'm going to do. Now I know, because I'm the guy who made it, that this works with a whole lot of PHP, figuring out what should be opened at the point when the page loads, you know. And there's also a highlighting class for active pages here. But I'm going to do it a little bit different this time, and I'm going to use JavaScript. Now, as a reminder, this is not a tutorial. Keeping an eye on my water distiller. This is not a tutorial, it's me doing real work. So you may see mistakes and all of that, but hopefully you'll get something from this. So, shall we dance? Shall we dance? Oh yes, we shall. So what I'm going to do then is go into templates, and we've got a thing called Tron Pro Docs. And right at the bottom of this, we've got a little bit of JavaScript here. Now, I actually don't even know what this is. Oh, I do know what it is. It's this on the top left. So you can click that and it takes you back here. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So what are we going to do? Well, let's have, when the page loads, and by the way, it's a good practice to have these things at the very end of all of your code, you know. Well, maybe down here. There we go. And we'll have this here, just rearranging the furniture, you know. Okay, so we're going to think about what we're trying to do. When somebody lands on a page, we want to attempt to expand this stuff. So I'm going to say attempt auto expand. Let's just say attempt auto expand nav, because it's the navigation, right? So let's have a look at that. Now, the first thing that we'll do is we'll identify this element here. So I'm going to right click and inspect, and you can see it's called docs LHS nav. So let's chuck that in. We'll switch to camel case, and we're going to say document query selector. There it is. Okay, so we have now selected this element, and we can prove that by saying docs left hand side nav dot style dot opacity is 0.2. So you'll see that when I reload, pardon me, this is an ID, it's not a class, so it's a hash symbol. So do you see how it's going fainter? That means that our code is successfully recognizing this thing. Now obviously we don't want it to go fainter, right? We want to do something far more interesting. So how about if we just see if we can figure out how these things open and close? How do we actually make this happen? Well, we could say, if we look inside here, you can see that there's these elements that are called details. So we'll say const details elements, so details L's. And this time we're going to stick inside this thing, so within this, and we're going to say query selector all. And it's all of the elements that are details elements. It's kind of an unusual thing, but it is HTML. It's called a details element, right? Now let's try a little experiment. Let's say details elements with a key of 3. Let's do set attribute open true. I don't know if this will work, but we'll try it. And what a lucky guy. So what did it just do? It's just opened this up, see? And it's really immediately, it's opening it up. So now we've got a good idea of how this works. So, question is, how do we identify the correct thing to open up? Well, let me just have a little look around. I'm not seeing... I mean, we could look at the title, but I don't think that that's... we could, I suppose, look at the title, but I just don't know if that gives us a guarantee. If we look at the breadcrumbs, maybe this could be useful. So we've got no breadcrumbs on the main page. We've not got anything on the table of contents, which makes sense. Once we get into the chapters, we could do that. Yeah, I think this is the way to go. The alternative way, which may or may not be a good idea, would be something like this. I'm just going to remind myself what data is coming into this page here. Now I'll unset data page content and view this source. Okay, so here's what we've got. So coming into the page, let me unset data docs contents. All right. Oh, now look at this current chapter number. Now that could definitely be useful. I think that's what we need. So let's go back to our JavaScript. Okay, so we're going to say const target details index equals. Now again, keep in mind that PHP has got this current chapter number, so I'm going to jump into PHP and I'm going to say current chapter number. But because we're dealing with indexes and stuff, indexes start at 0, so we'll say -1. So now we're gonna go in here and we're gonna say target details index. Save. Let's have a little refresh. And look at that, it's opening up. Pretty cool. So let's just test this. You can see that the introduction has opened. Not sure if I want that, mind you. But here it stays open, which is good. And then it opens it. It's not too bad. The only thing is, I don't like it being open here. So let's think here. Look at the URL. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if we do that, the fourth segment's empty. So okay. So let's try something else. Let's, in JavaScript, say if no, we'll go to PHP. I'll say if segment 4 is empty, then I'm going to echo return. I know it's a bit weird, but it does work. So that means that we've now got our table of contents here looking okay. We can click into a page. I'm hitting the next buttons. It's going all the way along, and you can see these things now opening and closing on the left here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Now, as good as that is, I think we can do even better. I think that we should highlight the one that is currently open, you know? So how do we do that? Well, let's first of all have a look at the content for these things. So you can see that these things all contain links, and indeed they contain full links that could potentially match the current URL. And each of these is inside an li element, and it's a link, so ahref, right? So what we could do is something like this. After we open this thing up, we're going to ask a question. Does the current URL match one of the links from the opened what? Details element. That's the question. So to figure that out, we're going to say const current chapter link elements, let's just call them. Well, that is going to be this little beauty here. Query selector all, and it's all of these A elements here. So now I'm going to loop through them. So I'm just going to say for all of the chapter link elements as a chapter link element. And now you can see here it's just console.logging the outer HTML, and that's okay. So let's refresh, and you can see that they are now all being console.logged, all of these things here. Now, this is slightly embarrassing. I don't know how to get the source. Is it href or is it src? I'm going to just quickly ask this question to the employee of the month, if that's okay. I know that everybody's screaming at the screen, but I have to be sure that I get this right. Okay. So here we are. And I'm going to say can you show me how to get the href values URLs from the extracted links? I'm sure it's .href. Get attribute href. Or that way, which is what I would have done. Okay, so let's just say if the href is equivalent to, now in here we're going to chuck in the current URL. But we can do that with PHP. Indeed, we have a little thing on Trongate called current URL, so we can do that. And if it matches, what do we then do? Let's say this dot style dot font weight is bold. Okay, so refresh. Now have a look on the left. You'll see that the opened page is now bold. In fact, I'm so confident I don't even need this anymore. Okay, so let's give this a wee try. So keep an eye on the left. Do you see how? Ah, now there's interesting. Look at how that's indented. But then, all right. Let me just quickly double check this. So I'm clicking the links, keeping an eye on the left, of course. That's excellent. The only slight source of concern is this page here. Now, why does it do that? Interesting, eh? So this page frequently asked questions loses its shape. Now, the question is why? Let's take a wild guess. Let's assume that it's probably doing it because there's something on that page that it just doesn't like. So I'll go into documentation, assets, Strongate MX. Here we are. It's frequently asked questions. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to copy. And I'm just going to go, hello, save it. Now, okay. Give me a little minute. Ah, look at that. So as you can see, now it retains its shape when we change the content. So that means that there must be something here that is basically ruining the layout. So let's try counting the divs. We'll count the opening divs, there's 33. Let's count the closing divs, 33. Darn it. Okay. Let's get rid of the styling and the JavaScript. Could it be something here? No, it's not that. Okay, so I'll ask the employee of the month. Hang on a minute. What was I just doing? That's the wrong darn page. It's this here. Okay. So let's try this and I'll just ask, is this valid HTML? Give me a sec. Yes, it's valid. Blah, 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 blah. However, you could make all right. It's suggesting a different structure here. So let's just try that. I'll comment this thing out. Oh no, hang on a minute. This is an HTML page. This is not PHP. Nope. All right. I think it has to be the style sheet. Right, let's see if we can figure it out. We'll inspect. Okay. Oh, look at that. Ah, okay, I'm going to copy. Take this out. Right, I'm going to just ask the user who made the original page wrote the following CSS. Can you explain what this does and also why the user wrote that code for this page? Please note, here's the rest of the CSS written by the user. I wonder if anybody is paying for ChatGPT because I'm thinking about getting it, like the actual one. So it removes all elements. Okay, I'm going to take this out. And there it is. Okay, so here is our menu thing now in good shape. And we'll just quickly run through. You'll see on the left side that these things. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we had a thing on the intro page where the chapter intro gets highlighted here? I just thought of that. So let's see if we can build that into this as well. Shouldn't be too difficult, right? So what do we do then? Well, we've got this attempt auto expand new. And let's do a little thing here called let found matching chapter. Let's just say let matched current chapter page. And we'll say that this is false. Matched current chapter page. False, right? Now, when this happens, we're going to say matched current chapter page is true. The key vibe is we declare this outside the scope of this thing, and we use let because this is going to change, right? So, what does this mean? Well, keep in mind that we're looping through all of the pages here. Now, hopefully we'll find a match, but if we don't, we can say if matched current chapter page is false, so they've still not managed to match a current chapter page. Well, we will assume this to be a chapter intro page. Therefore, what do we do? Well, we go here and we say dot style, dot font weight is bold. Oh, you miserable thing. Hold on. I think I need to go a bit more. It's the summary. Yep. So const target summary element. So it's going to be that query selector. Now it is called summary. That's an HTML element, believe it or not. So we're going to say target summary element. Oh, gee. Hold on. There we go. And there it is. Okay, so now we truly have a gig. If we click in, table of contents is all pretty quiet, but you can see our introduction page highlighted. Now I'm going to do next. Look at how everything's going bold here as we move along. And there you have it. So let's now test the search engine. Ah, okay. Now that's slightly unfortunate because it's given us the introduction opening up here. So if we look at this second URL, it says search results, right? So what we could do is we could go up here and we could say or segment 2 is equivalent to, and here it is right here. I'm going to save and refresh. I'm glad I tested that. So again, let's try it again. We'll say database. We're doing the search and the menu does not open. That's exactly what we want. But when I click on one of these, now when I go and look at the next page, you can see that this works perfectly. Okay, so that is, believe it or not, just about everything that I wanted to achieve today as far as this goes. I hope you got something from that, and I apologise for doing this all day. I think there's cat hairs in the air, and they've been, bugging me. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. I'm looking very bald today, I can see that. So we're going to have to, I think, cure hair loss once again, folks. So what you's working on today? Anything good? Anything exciting? I'm going to be working on those docs for about the next 13 hours, but I'm not going to do it here because it's just boring typing, I'll spare you from that. But I do hope that you have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I hope that you got something from this. Thanks to those of you who left likes. So to let you know the plan, the idea is pretty simple. I'm just going to nibble away at this every day until all of these docs are done. It's a huge job, but somebody has to do it, And that is it. There's other bits and pieces that I'll need to add in terms of features and stuff, but I think we're in good shape, all things considered. All right. So thank you very much for being here. Have a great day, and hopefully I'll check in with you tomorrow. Take it easy now.